Errol Spence Jr. says he cleared a path in the welterweight division for Terence Bud Crawford. Alright, y'all, let's talk about it. So, there's been a Twitter war, or there was a Twitter war going on. I don't know if they're still beefing back and forth on Twitter. I just now got a Twitter, like, today. So I had no idea that the whole little Twitter war was going on. I seen other people reporting on it, but I didn't feel the need at the time to go download Twitter just to keep up with the back and forth that those two guys were having with each other. But I did finally go make me a Twitter. Went and checked out what they had to say to each other. And it was some interesting stuff. You know, a lot of it was already out there because of the Instagram rant that Terence Crawford went on the other day, kind of clearing the air about the negotiation process. I was surprised that Errol Spence didn't go on camera and air Terence Crawford out, but I guess he didn't have to. You know, he put enough information out there through Twitter for everyone to kind of decipher what the truth is. But I did want to kind of try to break down one of the things that Errol Spence had to say. He said that he cleared a path in the welterweight division for Terence Bud Crawford. What did he mean by he cleared a path in the welterweight division? Well, basically, if you read the tweet, he said, "I did all the heavy lifting. I cleared a path for him for real." And I have to totally agree. I believe that Errol Spence did do all the heavy lifting. I do believe that Errol Spence fought all the tough competition before Terence Crawford got there. And he basically set a precedent and kind of cleared some tough fights out of the way for Terence Crawford. Even if Terence Crawford did fight the same opponents that Errol Spence did, Errol Spence fought them when they were better opponents than when Terence Crawford fought them. So what he's saying is completely true. I fought these guys first. I beat those guys. You came behind. You got lucky with the Jeff Horn fight, because if Jeff Horn was a Sean Porter or if Jeff Horn was a Kell Brook, I don't think Terence Crawford would be a champion right now. If he fought those guys as champions. You know, Jeff Horn got that good look from Australia during the Manny Pacquiao fight, and Terence Crawford just kind of became a beneficiary of that. Well, Errol Spence had to go and take a tough fight with Brook. He had to take a tough fight with Porter, and he had to take a tough fight with Ugas to get to the level that he's at this point. And I seriously don't think that Terence Crawford would have survived the type of competition that Errol Spence went through. You know, it's my personal opinion. Feel away if you want to. It was still a few other good fights out there Terence Crawford could have taken. You know, there would have been tough fights other than, you know, the path that he did decide to take. The only championship fight that Terence Crawford has had, now he has defended his title, but the only championship fight that Terence Crawford has had at 147, everybody knows, is Jeff Horn. But there were opportunities for him to fight Ugas. There was opportunities for him to fight Keith Thurman. There was opportunities for him to fight Manny Pacquiao. There was opportunities for him to fight Errol Spence. There was 4 championship fights that Terence Crawford could have taken to prove his worth within the welterweight division. And I think if he would have just won one of those fights, he didn't have to fight all 4 of them. He could have fought, let's just say, Ugas. If he would have fought Ugas and beat Ugas for the WBA title, I think his reputation and the respect level that people have for Terence Crawford would be even higher. Now, he gets plenty of respect from his fans, but it's the people who don't follow Terence Crawford, the people that are not fans of Terence Crawford, that he has to convince that he is really on that top tier level. He hasn't convinced people that aren't his fans yet that he's on the top tier of welterweights. And that's because of the competition level. At the end of the day, you can't blame anybody but Terence Crawford for the level of competition that he's faced off with. And I know everybody's going to go into the, well, Bob Arum did this and Bob Arum did that. I mean, I could agree with some that, you know, Arum's going to make the fights that benefit Top Rank and not the fights that fans basically want to see. You know, he's into making money. In-house fights benefit him, so he's going to make those in-house fights. But it's up to Terence Crawford and his team to advocate for themselves and let Arum know that soft touches are not advancing his career. And I know a lot of people will probably say, well, that's why he left Bob Arum, because he wasn't getting those championship level fights, those top tier fights. Well, he's been gone for Arum for almost, over a year now. And he's taking his next fight, and it's a even worse fight than the fights Arum was putting him in. So my question is, what's the excuse now? You know, Errol Spence cleared the way for you. He beat all the great fighters. He collected all the title belts. The only fight left that you needed to make was Errol Spence Jr. And if you beat Spence, that would have proved to everybody that you are the highest caliber of welterweight out there. But instead, what do we get once again? We get a mediocre fight, at best, lower than mediocre if you ask me, against a nobody, and Terence Crawford somehow gets a huge payday out of it. You know, I just don't get the sport of boxing. And it's funny because, you know, this is why I don't take Terence Crawford at face value with anything that he says anymore. For this reason, and I'm almost getting there too with Errol Spence because of the whole Keith Thurman situation. If he takes that Keith Thurman fight, I will be highly disappointed in Errol Spence Jr. Highly disappointed. But I'm highly disappointed in Terence Crawford, and I don't take him at face value for the simple fact he said it at his own mouth. Now, we all know Terence Crawford will go against his own word, but out of his own mouth, these were his words. If I don't get the Spence fight next, I'm moving to 154 to fight Charlo. What happened to the Charlo fight? Okay, I would have gave him respect. If he was, okay, I didn't get the Spence fight. Negotiations fell apart. They tried to F me out some money. Well, I told you I was going to go fight Charlo. I'm moving to 154 to fight Charlo. I'll take one fight at 154. And then when Errol Spence and his team get their stuff together, I'll come back down to fight Spence. You can't take Terence Crawford at face value on nothing he says, because he just says what sounds good and never what benefits him as a fighter or what benefits fans, you know, by giving them a good fight. It's never about that. And I totally agree with Errol Spence Jr. saying that he cleared the way out, because he definitely did. There was still a few good fights that Terence Crawford could have taken to show and prove that he can clear his own path. But once again, true to form, Terence Crawford disappoints everybody and just does what Terence Crawford wants to do. Y'all let me know what y'all think about that down in the comment section below. Hit that like button for me. Share, subscribe. Holler at me on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and now Twitter. I'm on Twit now. I'm on Twitter. Cardinal Red on Twitter. So holler at me on Twitter if you want to holler at me on Twitter. But you're more than likely to get a response on the tube. So holler at me over there. And we are...
It's your boy Keys, neighborhood employee. Niggas knew that I was coming with fire. Y'all went up to my pie and up under a car. Your head under a tie, it's the S and the I. Player, we supposed to win. I'm in the booth focusing with coke in hand. Dude hate it when they see the chief running in. Ass mouth hurting like his wisdom teeth coming in. Now that's a roundhouse kick. Come round your house, letting rounds out quick. From Newburgh to downtown, it's that Midwest to down south shit. Y'all ain't fucking with. She chillin', saying tryna put the veal on the mouth. What's good? She nothing, saying tryna show his niggas how to ride.